So hi, and welcome to Dr. Deep State. We're back again. I want to do a bit of a review, and I want to introduce a new direction and some new material for our course. By way of review, I put down in the playlist section a former CIA agent and anti-terrorism specialist named Kevin Shipp. It's almost 2 hours long, very mind-blowing. Try to stay with it for at least 20 minutes. And what he is talking about confirms very much a thread of deep state thinking from Mike Lofgren back to Peter Dale Scott, back to C. Wright Mills, back to Ferdinand Lundberg. This idea that Wall Street and the security apparatus are central modes or nodes of operation of this structure, and that what many of these thinkers call the military-industrial complex is the second layer that organizes everything else. And the consistent idea also is that this invisible government is very much in control of the visible government that we see. A second idea that I want to continue with is that although so much of this information is currently being, by the day, it's really being forwarded, and it makes us wonder exactly why. But I think the important thing that I want to pursue here is a way for us to systematically think about what's happening. And I think what is lacking in all these other materials is the core connection between oligarchy and the deep state. Once we can connect the deep state operations with particular threads of oligarchy, and as I've mentioned, a genealogical thread back in time, we see a mode of operation. And suddenly, what is happening in the world becomes, I believe, much more clear. So, what I want to point out right now is this idea that I'm introducing here is a big picture. And the big picture are key components that we're going to see with the structure of oligarchy that has existed across time. Number one, the idea that oligarchical families, the most powerful ones, or the central thread of combination families, are going to be involved in what we've called before high finance, investment banking, Wall Street, and across time, the central force of that has been usury. That is the lending of money. Very powerful force. So the most powerful of the oligarchical families, or the central thread of them that exist today, are going to be the key controllers of the money supply and the international money supply. Second, monopolies of precious resources across the world, including communication, telecommunication, education, research and technology. The same families that tend to control the money supply are going to tend to control that. And the idea here is that they don't control it, I'm going to argue, just for control. Of course, that's very important, but there is a project at hand. And the project at hand involves the shaping of perceptions. And I'm going to roughly say that along with this idea of usury, control of the money supply, monopolies, control of the world's resources, there's this need for abstraction of society or citizens from their own reality and the shaping of those perceptions. And I'll call this abstraction, or the shaping of perception. And all of this is a means of empire building and maintenance. And I want to continue this discussion with the idea of what empire is, and the fact that it has a built-in direction, I will argue. So we're going to continue next time, and I'm going to introduce a couple thinkers that pick up on this thread that I've just discussed.